So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to the technical session 1 on transforming the regulatory system of higher education. In chair, we have Professor Ranveer Singh, Vice Chancellor, NLU, Delhi. And we have 3 speakers, Professor Aditya Shastri, Vice Chancellor, Banastali Vidyapeeth, then Professor R.P. Tiwari, Vice Chancellor, Central University of Punjab, Bathinda, and Professor M.P. Punia, Vice Chairman, AICTE. So ladies and gentlemen, let me have the pleasure of introducing the chairperson. Professor Ranveer Singh has been the founder Vice Chancellor of Nalsar, University of Law, Hyderabad. He has also been the founder Vice Chancellor for NLU Delhi. Professor Singh has been a Vice Chancellor for almost 22 years, being one of the longest serving Vice Chancellors in the country. Professor Singh has been recently elected as the Governor of the Board, International Association of Law Schools, USA. He has been the chairperson of the Committee for Reforms in Criminal Laws constituted by the Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India. He is also member, Board of Management, International Association of Universities, Paris, Member Council, the Association of Commonwealth Universities, London, and also past president of the Association of Indian Universities and SICI. Professor Singh has more than 50 research publications to his credit. He has edited 2 publications and has co-authored 2 scholarly publications. Under his guidance, several scholars have been awarded PhD degrees. Besides, he has also been associated with prominent institutions in various advisory capacities. Professor Singh has been the recipient of many awards, including the Ambassador for Peace Award by Universal Peace Federation 2019, Lawyers of India Day Award 2018 by Bar Association of India, Symbiosis, IALS Lifetime Achievement Award for Excellence in Legal and Justice Education by International Association of Law Schools, USA, and Symbiosis University, Pune, and many more prestigious awards. Ladies and gentlemen, let me bring in the speakers quickly for you. We have Professor Aditya Shastri. He is currently the Vice Chancellor of Banastali Vidyapeeth. He was the youngest ever to become the Vice Chancellor of an Indian university, and today he is also one of the senior most amongst the fraternity. Dr. Shastri completed his MSc Tech in Computer Science and MSc Honors Mathematics from BITS Pilani, after which he moved to USA for further studies. He received his doctorate from Massachusetts Institute of Technology. After serving the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research for 1 year, he moved to Banastali, where he has remained ever since. He has held several visiting appointments in the UK, France, and Japan. Most notably, he was selected as Marie Curie Fellow by DST. He was also a Royal Society Exchange visitor to the University of Nottingham in 1993 and a research staff member at IBM India Research Lab. He has published over 50 research papers and has authored 5 textbooks. His research interests include discrete mathematics, combinatorics, then graph theory, theory of computation, algorithms, e-commerce, and mobile computing. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we also have Dr. Raghavendra P. Tiwari, and he's the Vice Chancellor of Central University of Punjab in Bathinda. A distinguished academician, Tiwari did his PhD in geology from Gauhati University. He specializes in earth sciences, including paleontology and seismology. He is engaged in research in paleobiology. He held key positions in other reputed universities in India. He served as Dean and School of Earth Sciences and Natural Resource Management and Head Department of Geology, Mizoram University. Dr. Tiwari has got 80 research papers published and edited 2 books. He is also involved in various research projects and till date completed 8 projects successfully. Dr. Tiwari was conferred with L. Ramarao Birth Centenary Award of the Geological Society of India for significant contribution to Indian stratigraphy and paleontology. Ladies and gentlemen, I will bring in the 3rd speaker for you, Dr. M.P. Punia. He is specialized in the field of mechanical engineering, renewable energy, and sustainable development. He has done his MTech and PhD from Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi. He possesses a vast experience of 30 years. He has published more than 90 research papers in national and international journals and conferences and published 10 books and developed 2 lab manuals. He has guided a number of MTech and PhD dissertations. Dr. Punia is a member of ISTE and Society of Automotive engineers. Dr. Punya is presently serving as Vice Chairman, All India Council for Technical Education since 2017. Dr. Punya is the recipient of Bharat Mata Award conferred by Indian Institute of Oriental Heritage on 16th August 2014. On behalf of NITTTR, Chandigarh, he received National Award for the Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities 2013 by the Honorable President of India on 3rd December 2013 in New Delhi in recognition of outstanding performance in the field of Best Institution for Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities in the country. He visited many countries like USA, China, Canada, Thailand, UK, Singapore, Taiwan, Sri Lanka, and Australia. Thank you for joining us today, ladies and gentlemen. Over to Professor Ranveer Singh to take the session forward.
Thank you, Sushma. Thank you very much for much of my work has been made simpler. I thought I will be introducing the speakers. I see Dr. Pankaj Mittal, the Secretary General of the AIU, Rama, and other friends from Geetam, especially Anita Rao. And it is wonderful to be with you and to be a part of the technical session too, where the speakers have already been introduced. I will not take much time in the beginning. I would chip in the end, basically. So we have almost 1 hour and 30 minutes. Probably, I think we can devote about 1 hour for the speakers. And without wasting any time, we started slightly late. We will start with Professor Nitya Sastry. Maybe you can come across your views about 15-20 minutes. And Professor Sastry would be not available after he speaks to us because he has to attend a very important engagement immediately after this session. So we'll give him leave of absence for this session. So the other two speakers would be available with us. Professor Tiwari would be joining us very soon, and also Dr. Punya would be with us. For Dr. Tiwari has also joined us. Welcome, sir.
I have already joined. Namaskar, Sakku. I have already joined.
How are you? How are you?
Yeah,
so
fine,
we without any waste of time, we start with the Professor Sastry. Now the floor is yours for about 15-20 minutes. You can share your views with the learned panel and also other present on the occasion. Please.
Well, first of all, very warm greetings again to all my distinguished colleagues and friends. I'm very grateful to Professor Ranveer Singh ji for being so generous and understanding my situation. And thanks for Sushma ji for digging an ancient CV of mine and introducing me so elaborately in the introduction. Let me quickly come to the point that we are discussing here, that the regulatory mechanism and how we can reform it is always a point of contention, and there is always a balancing act that we have to perform. I think I have been part of a discussion a while ago, about a month back, and then somebody made a remark that one of the things we inherited from our past legacy of the Raj is that seeking permission and giving permission became a very important activity and consumed a lot of time and effort, and a lot of time and attention was paid to this activity. Seek permission for the plants and set up a company, to start an activity, to initiate a course, whatever. And giving permission was the most sought after, most sort of valuable, most satisfying activity. And to be able to obtain permission should give one a very great deal of satisfaction. And this remark was made in the context that perhaps there is a need to reduce this, because all this leads to somewhat of an unproductive activity to a large extent. Now, Indian higher education system has come of age, as we all know. Most of us have witnessed it. There were hardly a handful of institutions of higher learning when we gained independence. And the count almost increases by the minute. And we have been in round figures saying that there are 1,000 universities as of now. But that 1,000 figures, in my estimation, has crossed 1,100, 1,200 easily. And hardly a day passes when you don't encounter a university you have never heard of. And our gross enrollment, which just before our eyes 2 decades back, used to hover around 7, 8, 9%, has touched 25, 27, 26%, 28%. And it is estimated to cross 30% very quickly. And the big ambition was that it will reach 50% in not too distant future. So when the big plan is to expand higher education so rapidly, quite obviously, the expansion cannot be a very mindless expansion. Some kind of a quality assurance or quality control has to be exercised by some people somewhere. So now the whole idea is that where do we strike the balance? So either we go along and we work with the very rigid, strict license permit Raj, as I originally shared with you, one of the feelings expressed by one of the experts in one of the meetings, or we totally deregulate it and we say, okay, market forces will govern it. And we cannot assume that consumer is totally uninformed. And by the way, students and parents are quite informed these days. There are quite a famous educational institutions. They advertise in a very big manner. But I think people by and large know that which institution has what specialty, what they are good for, and so on and so forth. So the real question is striking the right balance between these two extreme ends. And I think over the past few years, we are seeing some very welcome trends in this direction. I think NAC has done a very wonderful job, though NAC is not a regulatory mechanism in the sense, but in a very broad umbrella of quality assurance. There are almost 75 to 80% of the evaluation happens based on the data submitted by you online. So it's a very objective, and only 25% of the evaluation happens subjectively, depending on what is the educational ideology you have, what is the special character of the institution you have. And I think our esteemed colleague Punia ji is sitting here. I think AICTE has taken the lead, and now all the data you submit it online, and sort of eligibility to operate, the necessary condition is checked through the system, and that saves a lot of hassles of committee visits and subjectivity and so on and so forth. So I think this is already been happening, that we are on way to striking a middle ground already, and AICTE is leading the way in that direction. Now, another one point I would like to bring in this context, that ultimately any kind of regulation that you want to do, one has to absolutely understand that what is the objective of education on the whole, what you can assess, what you can regulate, and perhaps we must admit honestly that what we cannot regulate. I often in meetings explain in very simplistic terms that every structure rests on 4 pillars. If buildings, has 4 columns at the 4 corners, and a table has 4 pillars, and so on and so forth. Now, educational system broadly must comprise of 4 pillars on which it rests. And we often say, well, teaching and research has to go hand in hand because they complement each other. There are 2 sides of the same coin, and so on and so forth. If you only do teaching, it is no good. If you only do research, it is no good. So I think that defines 2 pillars. And if an institution does only teaching, that means it is resting on only 1 pillar. So I think structure requires 4 pillars. And if you're hanging on 1 pillar, you are very, very unstable structure. So that is agreed. A educational institution, or particularly university, for being worth its salt, has to have a teaching as well as research potential to be an educational institution of certain quality. Then second thing which is often said is, well, universities are situated in a societal, there are societal organizations, they cannot sit in ivory towers. They have to relate with the society, they have to relate with the community. So the community engagement or extension or whatever you may call it, they cannot be just cut off from the environment entirely. And often an example is given that some institutions, they are very great institutions, but the moment you step out of the boundary of the institution, as if it appears that you are, the environment is totally unaffected by the superlative quality of the organization. So the community engagement or extension is the 3rd pillar. And now I'm coming to these other 2 pillars, which somehow are totally ignored from any kind of regulatory process or any kind of quality assurance. And even if it is given some due importance somewhere, so, okay, if any institution does these 3 things, now what is the 4th pillar? 4th pillar is ultimately the purpose of education is to build a human man, the character of a human being and his personality and character. And I think that is the biggest misfortune of our education system, that this is not even in the dialogue, not even in the context, not even in the discuss, let alone this aspect be part of any regulatory process or be of any quality assurance mechanism. So if any institution is totally oblivion to what I consider is the most important responsibility of educational institutions, that means even though how significantly you might be contributing about the other 3 parameters, you are still a structure resting on 3 pillars, and there will be some imbalance in what you are doing. So I think this value inculcation and character building, the 4th and most important key pillar, which are missing from our discourse, and therefore it is missing from our entire regulatory procedures and our quality assuring mechanisms. So therefore, what I would like to propose, that whatever regulatory regime that we have, we should try to include some amount of balanced proportion of all these four important components, which I feel make of a very comprehensive, complex system that a university is. Now, if you come to the operational procedures, I think this wonderful initiative which AICT has taken, that it is completely online data submission and it is done that way. But this is, like your eligibility or your license to operate in some way, the initial thing. Now they have a very broad system of approvals and procedures. And they are the very basic and they are the right assumptions, because in order to run some particular course, you require laboratories of this nature, you require faculty of this nature, you require library of certain type. And if you don't even have that, it is well taken that the quality of the academic aspect of education will suffer. Other aspect, let us leave aside for the moment. But sometimes what happens is that these parameters become some kind of a very universal absolute, as if they have come from somewhere up above heaven. So suppose if you need a computer lab worth, let's say 800 square feet or 1,000 square feet, and for lo and behold, if you only have 980 square feet, you might have committed the biggest crime on the earth, and maybe you are not good enough to run that particular course. But I think that argument needs to mature and some totality has to be brought into that argument. Well understood that your computer lab is slightly less than what was desired, but overall, since you are an institution which has very rich in terms of faculty, very rich in terms of your other culture, tradition, this, that, then it is okay. And in fact, through in some other institution with some other regulatory mechanism, I heard a very curious instance that some sensitivity about physically challenged people has come, which is very good. I firmly believe this, that we have a reservation 3% for physically challenged people and somebody who is on a wheelchair. So I think ramps should be there in every building. I think this is the new norm. But I think if you are a very old institution, you have a heritage building, and somehow if that provision is not very easily amenable, and if that ramp cannot be built into some way, then just to say that you are not good enough to run XYZ course, I think that is stretching a bit argument a bit too far. So in terms of my personal view, my suggestion would be, just like a person sits in an exam, you get certain marks in one paper or certain less marks in another paper, more marks in another paper. So we could have a grading mechanism that, you do very well faculty-wise, you do very well laboratory-wise, you may have some deficiency, etc., etc. And we could have a minimum eligibility defining score that if you have above that score, then you are fit enough. Otherwise, you don't, because you can't have that absolute. We had a classical system. I'm just winding up in 2 minutes. We have the classical system in which there is a minimum pass marks for every paper, and you have to pass. And if you fail in one paper, that means you have to repeat the whole year. But now the concept has come, it is pass by paper. That if you fail in one paper, then you repeat it. And the grade point average is, even if you have a D or E grade in one paper, your scorecard tells you that you are weak in one subject, but overall your grade point average is very high. So I think if it is a very friendly approach is adopted by regulatory mechanism, and a overall totality is brought into evaluation, that will be a very thing with online thing. So I think we are on its way, led by the wonderful initiatives by AICTE of this wonderful software of theirs, which captures all the data and instantaneously it tells you what it is. But the evaluation mechanism, in my humble opinion, if it could be brought in, I think that would smoothen the system out, and that will improve the very well. And I think that would bring the right balance. It would not be an absolute free for all everything, but it would not put a very stringent regulatory license permit Raj kind of a strict regulation on the institution applying for. And I think all in all, that is good for the system. That is what I feel. Now, thank you again very much. I thanks AIU for choosing this very pertinent topic. Thanks to the President AIU, Chairman, and Ramaji has been very active. She has been sending me notices and concept paper and very, very active. And since morning, reminding me that you have read it and are you ready for the seminar? And making sure that I don't miss it out, I am here. And thank you very much. I'm delighted being part of this. I will be here for some more time, but as Professor Ranbir Singh ji has been kind enough to permit me to leave for some other selection committee which is going on in my campus. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Sastry. Thank you very much. And thank you for providing such a wide landscape of reforms in your discussion. For me, if I have to be honest with myself, the role of UGC I found was very laudable. I have seen the working of UGC for a very, very long time. It has been, of course, a regulatory body, but it has been facilitating the role of the universities. It has been providing finances, and my interaction with the UGC for such a long time, as somebody mentioned, that I've been more than 2 decades as a Vice Chancellor, I never find the fences and barricades at the level of the UGC. So this I am mentioning with a purpose. And I'm mentioning it because when we say that we are getting into a different kind of a regulatory body, are we meaning to say change? And for me, as a law person, change is not certainly reform. If these 3 verticals, which the national education policy is probably trying to enforce in the country, and of course the objective is that it will further facilitate the working of the universities, provide them further autonomy, and open gates of excellence. So I would certainly be happy if all these reforms would not be simply change, but reforms in the real sense of the term. Wonderful for your very, very wide landscape, and you covered a very wide area of discussion which we is going to follow. Probably you have one question.
Sir, with your permission, may I add one more sentence to what you said? Sir, I entirely endorse your views. I am very, very happy with UGC. They are more of a facilitator. And there's one incidence, when we regulate, our prime focus is on quality institution and how they become better, or on the other end of the spectrum. As a graduate student, I went to US and we teach the undergraduates, and we found that few students were cheating. Somebody else was giving the exam for some money, and I could not imagine it could happen in US. So I complained to the instructor in charge. He said, okay, I'll complain to the dean. So I went to him 3 times. He said, Aditya, don't lose your blood. I'm not interested in those 2-3 cheaters. I'm interested on the other 675, how much they have done. So I think the focus should be not on the mischievous people, but on the quality institution, how they can come up. So I think that will bring the balance. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Aditya Sastry. Thank you very much. We have the next speaker, who is a very, very experienced person in the field of education, Professor R.P. Tiwari, sir. I have some very important things in my mind. For me, reforms, as I mentioned, would mean that how do we produce a generation of students, those who are technically sound, professionally competent, and socially relevant. And for me, third factor is very, very important when I say socially relevant, that if education will not have a social impact on the society we come from, we have to look at the future of universities, future of education of all kinds. Then the purpose of education is certainly not achieved. So in that sense, probably if the reforms would address these issues, that we produce a generation of people, those who are in that sense, as I said, not only technically sound and professionally competent, but socially relevant. Socially relevant means they are not only that they are skilled, but they are good human beings, and promote fundamental rights, promote human rights, and bring in issues of freedom, and ensure a kind of environment where what we provided in the Constitution is actualized. So I pass on to you for your comments as far as this session is concerned. Over to you, please. So you can take about 15 to 20 minutes. Your time starts now.
Yeah. Now, I'm sorry. In fact, I was muted from that side. Therefore, I could not start.
Okay, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Good afternoon to everyone. Professor Ranveer Singh, Punia, Sastri, and all those who have joined this wonderful platform to discuss about the scenario of higher education, regulatory regime, and other plethora of items that are envisaged in our NEP 2020. When the 21st century was about to start, UNESCO constituted a committee to work out roadmap for education that will meet the requirement of 21st century youth. And there, four pillars of education are defined. Number one is learning to know. Number two, learning to do. Number three, learning to be. And number four is learning to live together. Learning to live together essentially is a recapitulation of our age-old concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and also Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya. Now this, these four pillars poses a question to me. I mean, to meet these very objectives of learning system, education, what should we teach, number one? Who to teach, number two? What to teach, number three? How to teach, number four? And how to evaluate. Of course, Professor Ranveer Singh has very rightly pointed out that it is not only, education is not only to produce employable youth or produce youth who would be innovative, who will create job rather than seek job. But, this is also a very important component. So, and then, learning to do and learning to be. If we further define this, means what concept we learn, we should practice that. That is experiential learning. And number three is whatever we do, we apply it for the welfare of the learner himself, herself, for the welfare of the society, and for the welfare of the nation. So it is in this broad context and the purpose of education that we need to see the proposed regulatory regime in NEP 2020. We all know four pillars, and these four verticals, these will work under the broad umbrella of HECI. HECI bill is much talked about, and there's rumor that it would be introduced in the current session of Parliament. We do not know what it would be actually and what would be the composition of these verticals. What would be the percentage of educationists and bureaucrats in these verticals and all. So, and we see the fourth vertical, which is General Education Council, the mandate of this is standard setting. And, it is envisioned that General Education Council will provide framework for graduate attributes. As Professor Ranveer Singh has said, UGC has taken several initiatives. One of the initiatives is learning outcome-based curriculum framework. For the last two and a half years, University Grants Commission has been working very hard, and now for about more than 2 dozens of undergraduate programs, subjects, learning outcomes have already been notified by University Grants Commission. These are available in that one. This has been, very landmark development in the higher education scenario of the country, because this will give, students will be able to take informed decisions through this. And there is further elaboration of this in NEP 2020 that GEC will frame graduate attributes. In Western countries, this is called graduate attributes. We call it here learning outcomes. This is very essential, because when we say that the youth that come out of our learning system of the country, there is huge skill deficit between we produce in them and what is required in the job market. That is the main drawback that we talk about this. So therefore, in order to meet this, if we define learning outcomes not only program wise but also the course wise. And here what I would like to submit is that it should not be the same learning outcome for all the universities. Every university should be given freedom to devise their own learning outcomes or graduate attributes, and students then will be able to compare. For example, MSc Biochemistry course in JNU, in Banaras Hindu University, in my Central University of Punjab, or any other university, students should be able to compare where they have the best learning outcomes, where they will get the best knowledge, the best skill, and best training of minds. So universities should be given free hand to decide their own graduate attributes, learning outcomes, and so that students are able to take informed choices, and then they take they register themselves for the program and the course. So this, this is very important. Now, this is the beginning of the quality education, because when we define graduate attributes, then our course content has to match with what objective we have set for each program, for each course. So, then the upgradation of course syllabi will take place. The third important thing here is pedagogy. And, the emphasis here is that we should have experiential learning, and we should not only teach certain modules, learning modules to the students, but also we should train their mind as to how to learn. The emphasis is this, and this has been missing from the learning system of India since we adopted Macaulay system of education. Prior to that, in Gurukuls, it was all holistic, multidisciplinary education, and also skillful education, where 62 skills were taught in the Gurukuls. And now it is reinformation of what we have been doing, the learning system that we had in ancient India. It is, in my opinion, it is recapitulation of those paradigms, those attributes that were present and that produced, that offered the best quality education that time, not only to India, but also the whole world. So this, these regulatory reforms have to be viewed in this. You see, another problem that GEC will face is that today, the students which are entering the learning system of our nation today, and they will be job ready after 20 years, 22 years, 25 years. And what would be the job profile that time? What they would be expected to do that time? We do not know. Therefore, simply teaching them certain course content will not help. So here, this emphasizes further on training our minds to learn. So, the entire pedagogical approach has to be based on this, that we do not only, feed them with certain set of informations and which go rotten in their mind, but the informations as, in ancient India, there used to be 6 types of gurus specialized for each type of, education, like information provider, like, and the same thing was in fact recapitulated by Bloom's in Bloom's taxonomy, where he defined 6 levels of education, and the last one was creation of knowledge, that is the ultimate level. So this also is important when we talk about, and the regulatory system, new regulatory system that is there, whether this will meet these challenging tasks of the current and relevant education system. So this will further do that. The other thing, other important paradigm of this NEP 2020 is, enhancing the learning options to the learners. There are multiple efforts made in this NEP 2020 to enhance the learning options, learning pathways of the learners. And one is general education, one is academic bank of credit. So how this would be regulated in a country like ours, in where we have diverse setup of educational institutes. So this regulatory regime should be able to fully implement flawlessly the academic bank of credit, because this is wonderful idea, though it is not new concept. In countries like Korea and all, this is being practiced for the last 20 years or so. In our country, it is coming for the first time. So this will provide learning options, manifold learning options to our learners. So this, and in the present regulatory framework that is proposed in NEP 2020, there's no talk about which vertical will take care of GEC. So this is, in my opinion, this is very important, because the students can maybe register for a program in one university, but courses they can pursue online courses. Now, another thing is that which agency, which vertical will take care of integration of technology, use and integration of technology with education, because as Professor Ranveer Singh was talking about, now AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning tools, big data analytics, all these, latest in ICT have to be embedded in the current education system to, and use of technology, massive use of technology is essential. So, all these, issues, which vertical will take care, this is not very clear. Maybe as the things progress, and as now, the Minister of Education is engaged in working out implementation plan under 9 areas. All these reforms have been grouped into 9 areas, and 9 experts groups have been constituted, and the draft recommendation of these experts groups has already been submitted to the Minister of Education. So, there are all, ingredients present in our, in NEP 2020 to make our education system at par with the world. But my worry is not this. All these reforms that are there in NEP 2020, these reforms are already in practice in Western countries. The massive difference is that we also talk about character building. We also talk about total personality development, Vyaktittva Vikas, Sampurna Vyaktittva Vikas. These elements are there. These have been very clearly defined, and also the roadmap is shown in NEP 2020 as to how to achieve this. But by and large, all these reforms are already in practice. Now, this NEP 2020 says that all these reforms will be completely introduced by 2035. That means 15 years down the line. And by that time, learning system will evolve, emerge, new things will come with massive use of ICT. So, if we do not really implement in a faster way, number one, and number two, what changes are coming, what disruptive technologies are coming, if we do not embrace them, then after 2035, again, we will be left behind maybe decades or two from the Western education system. So this, there's very big task before the Ministry of Education and the new regulatory regime that will be implemented to make always our learning system ahead of the Western learning system. Then only we can meet our very tall claim of making India as Vishwaguru in the field of education again. So this is there. Now, the accreditation, much has been talked about. The entire accreditation system has to be revamped. And those criteria which are really current, which sync with the NEP 2020, those are to be included, like placement, like employment, like innovation, like startup, like patents, like how many solutions for the local and regional issues, whether universities are able to solve the local and regional problems, vocal for local. These should be now the main criteria of accreditation. And of course, also in social science, humanities, and languages, how these NGOs have been formed to tackle the social issues and all. So the entire paradigm, which is in sync with NEP 2020, accreditation has to be done. Accordingly, funding mechanism, which one vertical we look after, these also has to sync, has to be in consonance with these. So really, that is in order to promote the quality education, quality research. Of course, there is National Research Foundation, which will take care of, the quality research which is relevant, research which is able to create wealth. So this is another wonderful idea. And the implementation of language, that is going to be a Herculean task, because there are so many languages. And how we will ensure education in mother tongue up to class 5. So for that, of course, there is a provision to set up Indian Institute of Translation. So this will take, but all this, implementing complete paradigm. These regulatory bodies, 4 verticals and HECI, had to work overnight to really, come out with the plan so that all these, paradigms are implemented in a much faster way than envisaged in NEP 2020. Another thing I would like to point out is that, there are certain, ministries in India which are headed by educationists. For example, Department of Science and Technology, secretary is always a scientist. DBT, Department of Biotechnology, secretary is always scientist. Minister of Earth Sciences, secretary is always scientist. Can we think of having education secretary in the Ministry of Education as a prominent academician, and the education system is really managed and looked after by this, and in the proposed regulatory regime, 4 verticals and HECI also, in fact, it should be the teachers who should be managing the affairs of these, the another problem that I like to say is that, and this is not difficult, because if we see pre-independence or before the onset of Macaulay education, what we see is that everything was managed by teachers, gurus, whether it is education, whether it is subject combination, whether it is skill to be taught, financing, and the place, everything, and accreditation, everything was managed by the teachers, because everything was what we call it समाज पोषित. सरकारी व्यवस्था कुछ भी नहीं थी, सब समाज पोषित व्यवस्था थी, चाहे एक्रेडिटेशन की हो, चाहे फंडिंग की हो, चाहे रेगुलेशन की हो, किसी भी चीज की, सब समाज पोषित व्यवस्था थी. और गुरुकुल ही पूरे इंडिपेंडेंट थे हर एक तरह के डिसीजन लेने के लिए. जब से सरकार पोषित व्यवस्था हुई, तब से हमारी GER भी कम हुआ, हमारा एम्प्लॉयमेंट स्किल्स जो इम्पार्ट होती थी, 64 स्किल जो पढ़ाई जाती थी गुरुकुलों में, वो भी बीच में समाप्त हो गई. अभी हम पिछले कुछ वर्षों से स्किल डिपार्टमेंट, जो एक समाज ही हम युवाओं को स्किलफुल बनाता था, ऑटोमेटिकली, जनरेशन आफ्टर जनरेशन, उसको हमने नष्ट कर दिया। और अभी मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ स्किल डेवलपमेंट हम बना रहे हैं सरकारी पैसे से, जो कि समाज हमारे यहाँ ये काम करता है। तो इन सब चीजों को हमें देखना है, हमारी कोर स्ट्रेंथ क्या है हमारे देश की, और उस कोर स्ट्रेंथ को हम कैसे पुनर्स्थापित कर सकते हैं। इस तरह का रेगुलेटरी रिजीम, हम क्यों ना सोचें कि जो रूरल स्किल अभी भी मौजूद है उसको हम वैलिडेशन का, उसका सर्टिफिकेशन का, उसके एक्रेडिटेशन का क्या अरेंजमेंट कर सकते हैं। तो यदि हम इस तरीके से करेंगे, हमारी रूरल स्किल जिसकी बहुत ज्यादा आज आवश्यकता है, एम्प्लॉयमेंट के लिए स्किल होना बहुत जरूरी है, और वो स्किल अभी भी गांवों में तरह तरह की जितने भी लाइफ स्किल्स हैं सब अभी भी उपलब्ध हैं, उनको हमें रिवाइव करना चाहिए। और वो रिवाइव तभी होंगे जब हम उनको रिकॉग्निशन देंगे, सर्टिफिकेशन का अरेंजमेंट करेंगे। तो रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज को, हमारे जितने भी हैं, इनको ये भी सोचना पड़ेगा कि हम कैसे अपनी रूरल स्किल्स को, अपनी ट्रेडिशनल स्किल को रिवाइव करें और अपने यूथ को स्किलफुल बनाएं। इसमें हमें बहुत ज़्यादा विचार करने की आवश्यकता है। दूसरा, ये एक जो रेगुलेशन से नहीं होगा, हमारे यहाँ जैसे प्राचीन काल में गुरु अपने टीचिंग को एक प्रोफेशन नहीं मानते थे, मिशन मानते थे, मिशनरी जील से वो काम करते थे, अपना 24 घंटे देते थे। तो मैं ये सोचता हूँ कि NEP 2020 इज रियली अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर अस, द टीचिंग कम्युनिटी ऑफ इंडिया, टू रीएस्टेब्लिश देमसेल्फ, टू प्रूव दैट दे वर द गार्जियन ऑफ एजुकेशन, and they conducted and they produced the best education system, best education model in the world in ancient India, and we can do it. And we have shown exemplified efforts. When pandemic, the students were locked down all of a sudden, and even the teachers from traditional universities which didn't have any knowledge of use of ICT in education, no online education, they never practiced, but they did it. And whatever survey says that it is around 50% successful, it is because of digital divide, not because of the teachers. So teachers have, resilient to accept any change, implement any change. We are determined to implement all, and we are determined to produce youth which have global competency. They can compete with anywhere in the world. Then it is the teacher who will really implement this. The regulation has to be facilitative. It should not be restrictive. Of course, in several areas, they are facilitative even now, but there are certain areas where they are restrictive in nature. And so there should be, autonomy. Now, another thing I would like to point out, recently, there is notification from Ministry of Education that the sanctioning authority of post, teaching and non-teaching, is no more UGC. We are going to implement NEP 2020. And just on the onset of that, there is notification that, which has been the actual mandate of UGC, sanctioning post, grants. Now this power of UGC has been taken away. So, this should not be the case. Otherwise, how, this NEP 2020 can be, now everything will be done by Ministry of Expenditure. So things like this, there should not be regressive effort, decisions taken, which actually mar the implementation of NEP 2020. So with these few words, I would like to thank Secretary General AIU, Pankaj Mittal, for giving me a chance to speak. And I would like to thank everyone who have very patiently listened to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Tiwari. We have one more speaker, Professor MP Punia, Vice Chairman ICT New Delhi. And when his speech is over, after that I would like to express some speakers first and have some feedback on certain issues from both vertical education. Then we will discuss whatever time we have. I can say you ensure that the three verticals of higher education which we are contemplating for reform would address the issue of commodification of the education, how it would check the massification of education, how it address the issues of access to education, how it address the issues of equity in this country, how it will ensure quality. Of late, when I go to foreign jurisdictions to attend the conferences, seminars, or now for the last 1 year when we are on webinar, there is a fashion in most of the countries. They say education is market. And I feel very, very disturbed when they address education as education. And if marketization of the education, probably the very purpose for which the education is imparted to students is lost. So when we wind up the discussion, probably we would certainly like to address these issues. And my expectation from Professor MP Punia is that in a vast country like India, where we have digital divide, we have a knowledge divide, we have demographic divide, whether these so-called forms concern. To Professor MP Punia for your views.
Thank you very much, sir, Chairman Sir. It's a great opportunity for me to interact with very prominent academicians of the country. First of all, very relevant statement from your side that students who are coming out from our institutes, from our universities, our academic institutes, they should be technically sound, they should be professionally competent, and finally they should be socially relevant. Those type of products, in fact, we like to have, and that these are the graduate attributes, in fact, which Professor R.P. Tiwari was speaking. The challenge which we people are saying, first of all, the challenge is particularly in technical education, sir, we are under criticism every time because it's a very costly affair also for the students, for the parents. The students are coming for 4 years in our technical education after class 12th. And at present in our country, in technical education, when I'm saying technical education, it is engineering and technology, it is management, it is pharmacy, it is architecture, it is hotel management, arts and crafts, everything. If I'm combining all together, every year we can accommodate around 3.2 million students in our technical education system. Every year I'm saying new students can enter into our technical education system. And in this technical education system, our IITs, our NITs, even the universities which are running these technical programs, I'm not connecting those data. In fact, those students who are entering into, because universities are not under our purview. IITs, NITs are self-regulatory, they are autonomous, they are not under our purview. The affiliated colleges in the country who are imparting this technical education, they can accommodate around 32 lakh students every year. Probably it is more than the population of Singapore. But challenge is the infrastructure which we people have created, and that is hard infrastructure, good laboratories, good library, good hostel facilities, classrooms, everything is available. And the access and equity which we are saying, that our gross enrollment ratio is only 26%. Meaning of this one is, suppose 100 students have passed 12th examination. Out of those 100 students, only 26 are getting opportunity to enter into higher education. Total higher education, which is being regulated by UGC, by AICT or Medical Council of India or NCT, whatever it may be, only 26 students out of 100 we are able to accommodate in our higher education system. About 74, we don't know where they have gone. Whereas dream in our national education policy is that this gross enrollment ratio in time to come, it has to be 50%. 50% students who are dreaming to enter into higher education, they should get the opportunity into this one. In US, this percentage is around 87%. In Japan, more than 50%. UK, more than 70%. Our neighbor China, more than 50%. Ours is only 27%. So one side, the gross enrollment ratio, access, equity is the issue. Another side, the infrastructure which we people have created in the country for imparting this higher and technical education, we are unable to fetch students. We are unable to attract students. Against those 32 lakh seats which are available in our technical education, we are able to attract only 18 lakh students every year. Roughly 40% infrastructure, hard infrastructure which has been created in the country, that infrastructure is unutilized. We are unable to use that one. So one side, this gross enrollment ratio is the issue. Another side, the infrastructure which is available, it is unutilized. And one reason of that one is probably we teachers couldn't create interest inside the classes. Even probably parents are forcing to their children that do enter into technical education, but inside the classes probably we couldn't deliver according to their needs, the curriculum which we are having, or the teaching learning processes which we are having, or the acceptance of the graduate. The three dimensions which you mentioned, sir, that is technically sound, the competencies should be professional competencies and social relevant. Probably we couldn't produce those type of students, and interest inside the classes we couldn't create. So out of those 18 lakh students who have taken admission, actually students who are graduating every year, that number is around 13 lakhs. So capacity is 32 lakhs. Actually students admitted, it is 18 lakhs. Actually students who are graduating every year, that is 13 lakhs. And the acceptance of the society through industries in higher education, higher research institutes, or for startup or entrepreneurship, the number of students actually who are getting the acceptance, that is 7 lakhs only. So capacity is 32 lakhs, entry is 18 lakhs, the graduation is 13 lakhs, but actual acceptance is 7 lakhs. It is a very, very serious issue. In fact, we are saying our young nation, 50% population is less than 25 years, and those sort of demographic dividend we are having. But what will be doing with this one? If they are not socially relevant, what will be doing with this one? They are just like human beings. If you are unable to create them, if you are unable to reform them into human resource, till that time there is no use of this one. So whatever mechanism we are bringing, or whatever mechanism we are having, first of all, seriously we'll have to think that how this young generation, huge young population which we are having, probably we are 1/6 in the world as far as population is concerned. World's population is 7 billion. Out of that one, we are 1.35. 7 divided by 1.35, when I'm doing, the figure which you are receiving, it is less than 6. Means every 6th person on this globe is an Indian. And we want our values, our sanskaras, our traditions, our team building capabilities, our competencies. It should be in such a way that anywhere our graduates should be able to go, they should be able to compete, they should be able to deliver. And in lieu of that one, this young population, if they can bring dollars for this country, then country can grow. The dreams which we are having that our economy will be $5 trillion. It will be only if this young population is getting serious orientation, if serious demand they are having, then probably they'll be able to produce. So the foremost challenge is quality in our education. The 5 pillars which are being said in our national education policy, that is access, equity, affordability, quality, and accountability. So if that quality is not there, the acceptance is not there, the three outcomes which you are expecting, if it is not there, no acceptance will be there. And that's the quality. In fact, the learning outcomes which are for the betterment of the society, if those learning outcomes are not getting attainment of that one is not by the students, then certainly acceptance won't be. What society will be getting benefit from that one? So whatever mechanism we are bringing, sir, whatever regulatory mechanism which we are bringing, maybe General Education Council, or Higher Education Regulatory Council, or funding agencies, or accreditation, everywhere we'll have to think that how this young generation can be oriented so that their acceptance, their relevance in this society, it has to be very, very strong. It has to be. As Professor R.P. Tiwari was here just some time back, sir, 1 month back, we have gone for this Institute of Eminence visit. Professor Tiwari was with me. We have gone to Geo University in Mumbai. It is a coming, means in future probably it may be leading throughout the globe. That type of university it is growing, and we have gone there to visit that university. When we enter into the reception of that one, even the type of infrastructure which they are creating, vision which they are having, and some 2 programs they are starting in one is artificial intelligence, second one is digital marketing. Just when we have entered, on the front in the reception, big boards were there. Immediately what contents they'll be covering in that digital marketing and artificial intelligence, and what will be the learning outcomes, what students will be able to do after getting that knowledge, how they'll be applying that knowledge for the betterment of the society. The clarity which they were having, it was visible. The contents which they have kept, that is as per the needs of the society, immediately industry 4, the advancements which are taking in science and technology, everything was clearly mentioned. And for delivering that one, for achieving those outcomes, in fact, we need quality teachers. Without teachers, whatever dreams may be having, whatever regulatory mechanism we may be having, if won't be having quality teachers who are really dedicated, who are loving this profession, and who are concerned for the betterment of the students. If those type of teachers we are unable to produce in this great country, I think the dreams which we are having, we won't be able to achieve. So in that meeting, it was in daytime, but the connect which they are having connect with many of the US universities. So 2 days we were there. When in India there is a daytime, in US it is night time. And majority of the time we were unable to interact with those teachers, but continuously they were waiting that when committee will be meeting with us and when they'll be interacting. So the type of dedication which those professors were having, whole night they were waiting and for meeting with our team. So special, the attribute which we have seen and special abilities of those teachers, the US teachers we have seen, they were something very different. Their dedication, their sincerity, and connecting themselves with our universities. It can happen only if the teachers are dedicated, and certainly the university which want to take their benefit, they are also concerned, they are transparent. If the university is having zeal, enthusiasm, then only good people will be connected. So in national education policy, it is being said autonomy to the universities, it has to be their name and fame which they are carrying, even internationally it has to be exposed and connect to the international universities. It has to be so strong autonomy to every university. It has to be, if autonomy is being given, that time we'll have to think as a regulator, we'll have to see that can they do justice with that autonomy. In our school education system, sir, we are having autonomy at class 11th level. In 10th level, we are having board. At 12th level, we are having board examination. At 11th level, there is no autonomy, and there is no board examination. So schools are autonomous. They can prepare their curriculum. They can set their question papers. They can take the examination, everything. But when students are entering into higher education or appearing in some competitive examination, either 10th percentage of marks are being asked or 12th percentage is being asked. No one is asking what is the percentage of students got in class 11. It means when autonomy is there with the schools, that percentage is not being entertained, in fact. And one of the reason is, in our country, probably the autonomy of the institute has not become matured. The faith of the society on autonomy is not much. Our IT system, our NITs, since years they are working strong, faith people are having, but probably in that the faith of the society, it has to be. So when we are granting autonomy, when this regulatory mechanism will come, and up to 2035, as Professor Tiwari was saying, that every institute will be autonomous, certainly it's a great dream. But when we are giving autonomy, certain level of accountability it has to be. Without accountability, the autonomy is also disastrous. That seriously we have to think. Many a times we are discussing with industry people that why you are not accepting our graduates. Out of that 18 lakhs, 13 lakhs have passed, only 7 lakhs are getting job. Why we are not accepting our graduates? One challenge which they are putting, they are saying the curriculum of yours, what contents you people are delivering, it is outdated. There is no use of, in fact, whenever it has been discussed with industry that what type of students, what type of curriculum you need. So in mechanism which we are bringing now, the mechanism which we are bringing, it should be in such a way, it should be able to connect our school students, schools, it should be able to impart education in higher educational institutes. The grooming which is being done in the schools, that also it has to be connected with higher education, and whatever outcomes which are expected, it should be as per the needs of the industries. So the General Education Council which is being formed, foremost recommendation from my side, it will be there has to be a strong connect with the school education, the higher education which we are imparting, and the entry of the students which is into the industries. That strong connect, it has to be established. Second thing, when we are asking from the industry why you are not accepting, they are saying your students are very weak. They are saying Indian doctors are more acceptable, Indian lawyers are more accepted anywhere in the world, not only in India. I'm saying our doctors are having great respect, our lawyers are having more acceptance. The reason for that one is they are saying our medical colleges, when approval is being given to medical colleges, foremost condition is with medical college adjacent to that one or in continuity to that one hospital with 300 bedded hospital, it has to be. So the academic inputs which are being given to medical students, morning the theory classes are there, evening students are entering into those hospitals which are the part of that medical college. They are treating the patients, and those patients which are having latest diseases. Today, if corona is there, that student, he may be studying in class 3rd year of medical education, he'll have to treat that patient. So the latest problem which are there, those doctors are solving those problems. In low education are observed, even in the institute there are courts, in fact MOOC courts are there, students are practicing whatever they are learning, they are practicing. But in our technical education system, the type of mechanism which we are having, industries are far away, institutes are in rural areas, there is no connect. Whatever it is being taught inside the classes, application of that one, which should be into the industries, but that connect we are unable to establish into this one. So the mechanism which we people are devising now, or the national education policy is saying, there in every district there has to be a very big university which may accommodate some 50,000 students. So in our regulatory mechanism, immediately we'll have to bring that university which is being established in every district, multidisciplinary university it will be, but same time whatever learning it is taking inside the classes, that application of that knowledge through some industrial connect nearby or into those universities, just like PSG Coimbatore model. In PSG Coimbatore, the academic institute is there, and same institute who are going out from that institute, even they are allowed to establish their own startups into that PSG college itself. So even the junior friends are getting that benefit also. So in our regulatory mechanism, and particularly General Education Council, foremost important role which will be in our this new mechanism, that is General Education Council. They'll be deciding the curriculum, probably the learning outcomes of that one, graduate attributes, and finally it will be giving to regulators that you please implement that one. And then the accreditation body is coming into picture, that the learning outcomes which supposed to have been there, does the students have achieved those learning outcomes? In between, institutes are needing some financial help, then it will be coming through our funding agencies. So that strong connect between four, it has to be the development of the curriculum, learning outcomes, the regulatory mechanism, how those learning outcomes will be achieved, the testing of those learning outcomes, and if some financial assistance is needed in between, then role of the granting agency it has to be. When again I'm saying, when we are discussing with industries, the foremost important part which they are saying the students who are coming out from your universities, they are highly materialistic. They are saying their attitude is more or less selfish. Just they are discussing about the packages only. Very less little students are there who are discussing about the ownership with that university, with the industry, or connect with that one, or dedication, sincerity, or team building capabilities and all. Those soft skills are poor in our students. They are saying the critical thinking abilities of the students, the decision making power of the students, problem solving abilities of the students, they are saying poorer. So sir, you are saying technically sound, professionally competent, and socially relevant. They are saying, industries are saying, the attitude, knowledge, skill which you people are imparting in your institutes, that component of attitude, the hands-on part, it is missing or it is little. In our mechanism, that component also it has to be brought, which used to come through our parenting system, the family system which we are having, the joint family system which we are having in our country. Our grandparents, our dada dadi, they were the best teachers in our family system. Now the way the families are being broken, we have removed those grandparents, so no one is there to educate our students in a family. Parents don't have time, probably. Old grand people we have removed. So the soft skills part, which we people Indians were special because we were having something very special in our personality. हम तो देने वाले थे, कभी हाथ फैलाने वाले नहीं थे. Package was not important for us. Even students, when they are entering into our academic institute, first day when they have taken admission, first question they are asking from their teachers, sir, what package I'll be getting after 4 years I taken admission in that branch. It is not bad that they are asking packages, but first question they are asking from the teacher, sir, that what package I'll be getting. He is not asking what responsibilities I'll to shoulder. So in our whole mechanism, whole education mechanism, the holistic development which has been talked into our national education policy, seriously we'll have to think. The schools which we used to have, where all sort of personality development used to have, every Saturday we used to have Bal Sabha. the students were playing, our campuses were live. Now that part, it has been changed to the coaching system, the decision making, problem solving abilities or cognitive skills students should have, that we people in our education system, we have removed, and coaching it has taken place. That mugging part, just remembering capabilities of the students, it has been enhanced. So whatever mechanism is coming, sir, anything, any happening is there, it should be inside the campus itself. No separate mechanism of coaching, everything, it should go. And role of teacher, it has to be very, very important. Teachers training, it has become very important into this one. And autonomy to teachers, empowering our teachers. Teachers can do miracles. They are the at forefront of the society leadership, in fact. But the respect, the salary packages which they are supposed to have, the autonomy which they would like to have, that autonomy to the teachers also we like to have. As Professor Shastriji was saying, that AICT has done certain changes. Still, we are not satisfied, sir. We are saying we are becoming just like facilitators. We are not inspectors, in fact, and we are saying our regulations are light but tight. When I'm saying light, every institute, every year, they like to disclose, self-disclosure they like to have, that according to our norms and standards, what exactly they are having, the number of teachers, their qualification, their ability, their publication, the students' academic results, the placements, whatever it is there, self-disclosure it has to be. But when some grievance is there, if some complaints are there, certainly we are very, very, very tight. There is no doubt about this one. Probably with these words, I'll be extending my sincere thanks. If some questions will be coming, again, I'll be able to reply. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Punia. Thank you very much. Can we have some 15 minutes for questions to the learned panel? Please, who will manage that? Can we go for questions, please?
Yes, sir, we can.
Yeah, please. And let the question be addressed to the speaker. And it should be brief. We can have about 10-15 minutes for questions, please. Can we start?
So there's a question on the chat from Dr. Punia.
Please.
There is a question about funding from AICT side. We are having 32 different schemes. We are doing funding to students, to faculty members, and even for infrastructure development in the area of research promotion to the teachers, even for students for doing some innovative activities, for institute development, some hostels for SC/ST students, even some laboratories we are developing into the academic institute. The question is, does AICT publishes any list of the funded projects and even the PI, the principal investigator, who are, everything is online. In our case, everything is online. Even proposals which are receiving, it is online. Assessment is also online. The strong use of technology in approval process as well as approving funds, it is online. And there may not be a complete, because different 32 schemes are there. There may not be a complete one list of the principal investigator. But it is a good suggestion we can put on our web portal, that what are the projects going on, what are the outcomes of that one, what patents it has been received, how many publication it is, and who else is getting these funds. In fact, those details we can put.
Yes. Next one. Next question.
What is bureaucracy as involved in the ICT? Another question, sir. It is being asked that what is the role of AICT as envisaged in HECI? Now there won't be any separate AICT. There won't be any separate UGC. There will be a commission, complete commission, who will be looking after planning and development of the education in whole country. For implementation of the policies of commission, there will be 4 legs. In fact, different legs will be. One is basically for having general education role. The council will be for general education, for bringing the curriculum and learning outcomes expectation. Second one, there will be a regulator. Third one will be giving funding. Fourth one will be assessing the quality of that education. Exactly, it is not clear what AICT, what type of role will be having. Certainly, the type of work which we people are having in the area of regulation, probably we may get that type of role where all sort of education will be regulated by AICT. That's my just expectation. But depending upon the capabilities of every institution, just like NCT or AICT or UGC, whatever their strengths are, probably according to that one, that assignment will be given.
2-3 more questions before I wind up. We are already ahead of time.
So another, just thanksgiving for this one, what I said for putting the list of the research projects and all, and not only research projects, even the innovative ideas which students are having, all sort of ideas. It has been compiled on a web portal. It is in the name of students mind. It is on the mind ideas we are having on that one. Even the funding which we are doing to the students, that list is also available on a common platform. On the basis of innovation, we are doing ranking of the institutes also. That sort of platform is also available. For internship, there is a common platform we are having. National Education Alliance for Technologies, we are having their students can register for enhancing their employability. So many initiatives, and particularly by intervention of technology, that we people are having, and that benefit can be taken.
One or two more questions.
The floor is open for questions. Ladies and gentlemen, you might unmute yourself and ask questions.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, I'm Dr. Swati, Faculty of English from Geetham. I know we're the host, but may I ask just make a statement and ask a question?
Be brief, please.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Sir, till now, for the industry and the skill requirement aspect of employment, NASSCOM has been taking care of facilitating the details, the surveys and the industry education gap, the quality of it or all. So what will be the future of this? How will the industry and the education gap will be studied from now on? And how and what is the role of NASSCOM after this in the new system?
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Punya sir.
Thank you very much. We are having a tie-up with NASSCOM also, and they are doing certain level of assessment, particularly related to students' learning outcomes. Students' learning outcomes in the core related to core competencies in the area of soft skills also. And those inputs we are taking for the curriculum development. When we are revising the curriculum, all sort of inputs which are coming for improving the quality of education, those inputs we are taking. Now we are having tie-up with Stanford University also. And we have given this assignment that do assessment the capabilities of our Indian students, and particularly in 3 areas: critical thinking, decision making, and problem solving, and specifically in school students. And they have done that work, and they have submitted their report also. Respected Chairman, sir, the outcome of that report is they have gone into our schools, particularly at class 11th and 12th level, and rigorous exercise Stanford University have done, and they have submitted their report around 6 months back. According to their report, our Indian school going students, they have compared our students with Chinese and Russian students also in the same age group. They are saying in these 3 areas, critical thinking, decision making, problem solving, our students are weak as compared to Chinese and Russian students. It was in fact surprising for us. We are saying our students are very good, particularly in critical thinking and all. They are saying our students are weak. And reason which they have specified that autonomy is not available to the students. Even they are unable to speak inside the classes. Teachers are not permitting them to speak. Even probably in our family system, we are not allowing our children to speak. We are saying as a parent, as a guardian, we are knowing everything, you don't know. So probably that autonomy is not there in schools. But the beautiful part of that report is same team, they have gone into our universities also, in our colleges also. And there when they studied, they are saying the learning curve of our Indian students are much faster as compared to Chinese and Russian students when autonomy is being given. When students are working in team, when they're working in projects, when they're working in groups, staying in the hostels, boys, girls, sitting into canteen, when they are discussing, when those sort of autonomy is being given, when facility is being given, the learning curve of our Indian students are very fast. So that project now with NESCOM and even AICT also continuing for whole country now every year at the entry point of the students and in third year level, we'll be assessing the learning outcomes of the students in core competencies as well as in soft skills. If some gaps are there in final year, those gaps can be filled in fact, and that feedback mechanism will be useful for improving the quality of employability of the students.
It's a wonderful initiative, sir. Thank you so much.
Two more questions. Please.
I am Dr. Shashindranath, Vice Chancellor of Kerala Veterinary and Animal Sciences University. In our university, we have the BTech Dairy Science and Technology as well as food technology. My doubt is under NEP 2020, we will be having different sets of rules, regulation, everything. But at this moment, our degree is BTech Dairy Science and Technology approved by AICTE as well as ICR. But we are following ICR syllabus. And so my question is whether the research grant and all, as well as the...
Sir, your question.
Yeah.
What is your question?
Question is whether our students will be...
What is your question?
Question whether it will be, whether our students will be eligible for this AICTE grants and all, since it is following ICR syllabus.
Punia sir.
Yes, sir. Actually, AICTE doesn't recommend any curriculum. Actually, we are having model curriculum, but we are not forcing. Universities are there to decide the curriculum, their academic councils and all. Indian Council of Agriculture Research may have devised, may have formulated some syllabus you people may be following. But as far as norms and standards are concerned for teachers and your infrastructure, that it has been approved by AICTE. So if approval of AICTE is there, all sort of schemes which you are having for faculty, for students, for institute, you people are eligible for taking the benefit of this one.
Last question. Any other question? Last question, please. We have to wind up. I'll just take 2 minutes. Any other question? Is there any other question, please?
Just sir, last one suggestion it is there, and that is regarding the thrust areas for research in time to come. So the National Research Foundation, which we are having, where around 50,000 crores budget is available for next 5 years. That National Research Foundation will be working on the thrust areas only, the thrust areas of the country, even thrust areas of the states. Different states may be having different difficulties and different areas for research. So every university which is in different states, in fact, according to those thrust areas, which are the needs of the state, the NRF will be doing funding. And the target is, in fact, it may be general university, it may be technical university, it may be remotest corner of the country. Everywhere for knowledge creation, some funding it has to be, and that will be according to the mission of the country, mission of the state, the thrust areas of the state.
Thank you, Dr. Punia. Thank you very much. And thank you all the learned speakers. We had a wonderful discussion. I'm of the opinion that the NEP 2020 and those 3 or 4 verticals, if they provide administrative and financial autonomy to the institutions, if they create an environment of tradition of excellence, if they provide flexibility in academic matters, and also promote quality, much of the purpose would be solved. And finally, I'm reminded of what Dr. B.R. Ambedkar said when our constitution was being finally prepared. He said, however a constitution may be, if those who are implementing it are not good, it will prove to be bad. However bad a constitution may be, those implementing it are good, it will prove to be good. To my mind, whatever verticals you may create for higher education, for excellence, for improving the quality of higher education, if the persons, those who will manage these institutions, those verticals, those councils and commissions, if they are good, everything would be all right. Results would be wonderful. And if those who would come to manage it, if they would not be people of quality and heart and head and heart, then the desired reforms will not come. I think the country and everybody has to remember that the laws and the systems and the structures are not important. The person behind the structures and those laws, those who have to implement it, effectuate it, are more important. With these words, thank you very much for a very lively discussion. And I think students, faculty, everybody would be benefited by your wonderful views. And thank you for your time. Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you, sir. That was truly an engaging session. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We now have a comfort break here for 20 minutes. We'll see you right back at 4 p.m. for the next session on institutional restructuring, effective governance, and leadership.